Okay. Aloha, everyone. My name is Andrew Choi. I'm the Planning Program Manager with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and welcome to our beneficiary consultation meeting this evening on a proposed amendment to the Kauai Island Plan for the Kukulu Kumuhana o Anohola Ulupono Anohola project. With me tonight, I also have Nancy McPherson, who is the planner assigned to Kauai Island, along with other various duties. Okay, so the purpose of tonight's meeting is to give beneficiaries an opportunity to get information, ask questions, and comment on a proposed amendment to the DHHL Kauai Island Plan. The amendment is needed in order to make the community use of the Kukulu Kumuhana o Anohola's Ulupono Anohola project consistent with the DHHL Kauai Island Plan. So tonight's agenda, we're just kind of getting through introductions. We're going to talk about the department's Kauai Island Plan and the DHHL land use designations, what those mean, what the department's island plan is and is not. Also, what the land use designation amendment process entails. We'll give we're fortunate to have members of KKOA with us tonight, and they will give an overview of their proposed project, as well as the recent environmental assessment that they completed that describes the compatibility of their proposed project with the surrounding environment. And then lastly, we'll go over next steps. And then finally, it's your turn to talk and your turn to give us mana'o or ask questions. Just a bit of housekeeping. While we are rather well versed in Zoom meetings over the last 2 years because of the pandemic, just a reminder, when you are not talking, please keep your microphone on mute. This will help to eliminate background noise, like maybe your neighbor cutting their grass or your neighbor's dog barking. So it'd be good if you can put yourself on mute when you're not talking. There are two ways to participate in this meeting. One is you can raise your hand, your virtual hand, which is over here. Or you can type your question in the chat, and Nancy and I will try our best to get to your questions in the chat. Just a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and it will be posted on the department's website. And then since this is a virtual meeting, in order for us to kind of just keep track of who participated in the meeting, if you don't mind typing in the chat your name, where you live, and if you are a DHHL applicant on the wait list or an existing DHHL homestead lessee or other. Okay, sorry, next slide. While this is a virtual meeting, like all of our Hawaiian Homelands meetings, we do have kuleana to each other to make this a successful and healthy, productive meeting. So please be respectful of the person talking. Please do not interrupt the person that is talking. Wait for the facilitator to call on you or type your question into the box. Tonight, I'll be your facilitator and Nancy will help monitor the chat. When addressing other participants, either verbally or in the chat box, please be respectful, show people aloha, and treat others how you'd like to be treated. Up front, let's just agree that others might have different perspectives, and that's okay. And also, lastly, and most importantly, and this goes for department staff as well as all meeting participants, please have an open mind and make sure that you take home new ideas or information. With that, I'd like to pass it on to Nancy McPherson to kind of give an overview of the department's planning system, our island plans, our land use designations, and the process that we go through to amend our land use designations. So we'll try our best to explain these technical planning terms in simple language. Thank you, Nancy.
Mahalo, Andrew. Aloha kako. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Just as a little refresher, we have a general plan that's implementing the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, mainly through land use designations and some other policies. We have just updated that, and so we'll be looking at some newer information about land use designations in a little bit further along in the presentation. Our second tier is our strategic program plans and our island plans. So this meeting is about amending the island plan for Anahola. It's updated every 20 years. It was last updated for Kauai in 2005. We also have regional plans. We just recently updated the Anahola regional plan. So that's ready to go forward with implementation of priority projects. And then we have development plans. We actually have a development plan for Pi'ilani Mai Kai, and that's part of the reason that we're here tonight, because sometimes there's adjustments that are made. And so we're just trying to sort of reconcile the maps with each other. Then when we implement these plans, we use funding, which includes capital improvement project planning, our operating budget, et cetera. Legislation, we just recently adopted, well, a couple of years ago, our planning system rules. So we actually do have planning system rules, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And then we have our land use designations, our reviews, and the amendment process. So that's what we're going to be sharing a little bit about that tonight. And then we always are trying to do evaluation. So we're always willing to hear how this is working for people, what people understand or don't understand, and how we can implement the planning system better. We're always seeking to improve how we do planning for Hawaiian homelands. Okay. So as I mentioned, 2004, not 2005. So our Kauai's Island plan was updated in 2004. And as you all know, in the upper right is the Anahola Kamalomalo'o area. Also, we do, we designated land use for Moloa'a back in 2004 for that region. Next. Okay, so we have updated the DHHL general plan. We have residential homestead use, subsistence agriculture, which is there is some of it in Anahola, but we're proposing more in the Mauka area with the Kuleana settlement plan. We have supplemental agriculture on some islands. We have pastoral on all the islands except Oahu. And we have a new land use designation for the Kuleana homestead, which is without infrastructure except for meets and bounds and roadway access. Next. So these are our non-homesteading use designations. Stewardship is a new designation that allows beneficiaries to access the land to Malama, that area, and it's a short-term interim use. Conservation usually aligns with areas that should not have any development. They're sensitive. There may be cultural sites. There may be steep slopes, riparian, river areas, that sort of thing. Special district is, there is some special district in the Anahola area, mainly along the coastline south of Anahola Bay. And it requires additional planning. Community use is mainly what we're going to be talking about today. It's for space for parks and recreation, cultural activities, community-based economic development, some infrastructure, public facilities, and also education and training. Community agriculture is a new category. Andrew, can you explain a little bit about that one for us?
Sure. The community agriculture came from beneficiary consultation when we did the general plan update. It was mainly for areas in urban areas that were our beneficiaries wanted spaces for community gardens. It's spaces where we could potentially grow crops, but the space wouldn't be suitable for full-time homesteading. So it was a distinction that lots of beneficiaries wanted to see, mostly in urban areas where there are less open spaces for agriculture. So
okay, thanks, Andrew.
Mhm.
We have another new one, renewable energy, citing for renewable energy projects. Commercial is areas that are going to hopefully generate some economic opportunities for the trust, but also possibly community-based economic development activities for beneficiaries. And then industrial is for mostly going to generate revenue for the trust. So these are our land use designations. It's kind of small and hard to see, but we'll be zooming into it in the next couple of slides. So the green areas are subsistence ag, supplemental ag, and conservation. The yellow areas are residential homesteading. The orange areas are special district. And then we do have scattered around some community use areas in blue and some commercial areas in red. So those are the main categories. We do have some general ag also, but we will be looking at updating this island plan in the next several years. Okay. Okay, so this map shows the project location with the existing 2004 land use designations. At that time, approximately 24-acre area, the acre in light blue, or the area in light blue there, kind of sandwiched in the middle of the residential homesteading, was set aside. But when Pi'ilani Maike Kai was laid out, it didn't exactly follow this land use designation map. So when we do these island plan land use designations, it's kind of at the 20,000 foot level. We're not going like, we don't have parcels yet, so it's very general. And then once those subdivisions are laid out and there's more refined land use analysis, topography, drainage, all that stuff, it gets refined. But what we didn't do is we didn't update the land use plan based on the Pi'ilani Maike Kai, the Anahola Res Lots development plan. So that's kind of why we're in the place we're in. So as you can see, there's more community use to the Mackay area. There's more residential use going Mackay, also north and south of the Ulupono site. And so what we're looking at is actually on the map on the right, it's showing what was shown in the 2004 plan as I think that's 26 acres. And what's shown on the left is the school expansion area. So that's the charter school. It's actually only about 10 acres. It's not quite 13 acres. And then the 10 acres that's proposed for Ulupono on a Hola project is to on the Makai side. So what we're actually doing is breaking up this community use blob that is actually now homestead area. And we're going to, we will update the map as soon as we can, but we are basically breaking up into the 13-acre area and the 10-acre area. So we're kind of just dividing it. So there's not going to be any reduction in the area that's being used for residential homesteading. Okay, next slide. So according to our administrative rules that were passed a few years ago, we have a process for amending land use designations for the island plan in between updates. And so the department can initiate it, beneficiaries can initiate it. And then if people have a property interest, which could be a lease or a license, if they have an interest, they want to request that reclassification. Now, the amendments need to be approved by the Hawaiian Homes Commission, and the entire process is outlined in the administrative rules. And if you want a copy of those, we can definitely email them to you. Okay, next slide. So when we are evaluating a request to amend a land use designation, it's kind of like a mini, it's a land use analysis is what we call it. So these are the things that the department's evaluating, the planning office in recommending an amendment. And then the commission has to understand these points in order to make its decision whether to approve or not to approve. So we look at the existing use and characteristics of the subject property, and most importantly, the surrounding lands, because we're looking for compatibility of the proposed land use and activities with the existing uses and what's going on the surrounding lands. We also want to understand the socioeconomic, environmental, and cultural impacts of the proposed use or activities. And then it is required to do beneficiary consultation and incorporate that feedback when reporting back to the commission on the proposed amendment. Okay, so what we'd like to do now, we'd like to, go back, please. Andrew, I think what we want to do now is switch to KKOA's slides. So they are going to talk about their project, where they're at, how much they've achieved, and all the things they've done to get to this point. And then we're, hoping that they can give us an update on their latest activities. So we want to hand it over to Kukulukumahana o Anahola. And that's Ray Nam and Ku'ule, and Kavika McKeague is the consultant with Group 70. Okay, mahalo. You're muted, Ray.
Aloha. Aloha kako. My name is Ray Nam, and I am the executive director for Kukulukumahana o Anahola, or most of the people in Anahola know us as KKOA, KKOA. Just to share why we are a part of this meeting is because the 10 acres that Nancy has been talking about, is an area that the Ulupono Anahola project has gotten started. We actually started working on this back in 2017. We received, actually, I think you can change the slide. I'm not sure who's coordinating the slides. Yep, so back then is when we had talked to people in the Anahola community. We did a mail out, and part of why our mission and our vision is what is noted here is because of what Anahola residents mentioned was important to them. So we are compelled and committed to providing safe places and spaces specifically to deter suicide. And we believe that we can do that by building life skills to strengthen people's identity through Hawaiian values, by empowering individuals to successfully manage their future, and by establishing a healthy, sustainable, and thriving Hawaiian community. So for those of you who have never heard of us, KKOA started because of the 3 deaths by suicide of teens in Anahola. And Ku'ule Punua and Manolele Clark are the founders of KKOA. And just by speaking, as they literally went door to door in the community, just asking what can be done, what can we help with to be able to deter suicide and to help with that area. At that time, Kauai and Anahola had the highest rate of deaths by suicide. And KKOA basically started very simple and believed that trying to keep the families together is a huge deterrent to suicide. So they just started the movie nights, and we have been doing the Anahola movie nights, started up at the Anahola Clubhouse, and we have continued it even down at this Makai site, the Ulupono Anahola site. Even through COVID, we were able to receive permission to even do a drive-through. And we saw a lot of families because, everything was getting shut down, right? And we started hearing of all the anxiety and the fears of what was going to happen. And we were able to receive permission to still do the movie nights so that people could come out. We did it in a safe manner of just a drive-in type of movie night. But feedback from the community was that some of the kupuna who were so fearful during the time of COVID actually felt safe, that they could at least go out, they could be with their ohana, even if it was like hanging in the car, but being able to see their neighbors as well. So since then, we have also partnered with Kanui Kapono School and have started our Resilient Leaders and Food Security Program. During COVID, we felt like if people still wanted to be able to come out safely and learn how to grow their own food, I think everybody saw that the cutoff of our food system on Kauai was horrible. And really, it was a lot of our farmers on the island that basically gave up themselves to provide for the community. So KKOA has partnered with Ainaho Kupu o Kilauea that provides veggie boxes to Anahola. We've partnered with Nourish Kauai that provides to 100 households with kupuna every week on Wednesdays. And Nourish Kauai works, and the items they have in their meal kits are all Kauai grown. They're all from local people within our island on Kauai, and everything is fresh. So it serves 102 households every week. which is an approximate, each meal feeds 4 people. So we're providing for about 400 people, specifically in the Anahola community. We have somehow a lot of different organizations continue to contact us and ask if Anahola has different needs for whether it's food or diapers. So KKOA also provides to young moms in Anahola with diapers every month. And many of those young moms have more than one young child in diapers. And we believe that once we're able to provide at the Ulupono Anahola area, families will be able to learn how to grow their own food. And it is not just for lessees. We want it to be open to applicants or beneficiaries so that when their time comes and they get their home, they know exactly what they want to grow in their own properties. We have spent, I would say, almost $1 million invested on that property to do an environmental assessment. The community came out to clear all the trash that was in there. We know that that area was a fire hazard to the Pi'ilani Maikikai residential area. We had other organizations that jumped in to help remove the abandoned vehicles. We've also partnered with Jeremy Makepa, as he's been clearing out the coastline as well of a lot of the cars. And so what we would like to continue to see in that area is really a safe place that the families can come together. We plan to have a commercial kitchen that is used for Anahola residents. We've been given opportunity by some of our funders to actually visit other areas on how they have been successful in utilizing their commercial kitchens for their specific communities. And it's pretty amazing. We would love to see that happen in Anahola. We also want to be able to just provide training for our youth. Right now, the work that we're doing, we have an amazing farm manager, program manager, and program assistant that has been training the youth at Kanu'i Kapono School. We meet with them close to every other week, and they're learning how to use the resources that are right there in Anahola and how they can use the things that they're learning to, really be, I'm trying to look for what the word is, but just a helpful member in their family. And all of that, we believe, helps to build stronger families, will help to keep suicide out of the thoughts of their minds, will help them to know that they are in a community that is going to be supportive of them, their education, the dreams that they might have, learning different skills. We did workshops on how to build raised garden beds, and it was the youth that built it for their kupuna, but learning how to use, skill saws, and we're also partnering with Ulupono Trade Academy, who helped us actually lay the footings for some of the containers for our heavy equipment. And so it's giving them opportunity to learn how to do all of their trade as well. And so a lot of what we are hoping to do is basically provide for the Anahola community. And that is you can see what the plan is. There's also a billboard that we have there. And we actually had some of the community members helping us put up the fence line. Our kupuna came out to help put up the fence lines and giving us their counsel on what would be beneficial in teaching the kids and making sure that we have those resources. And we've just been really blessed by the mana'o of the kupuna and community members who are amazing leaders in Anahola. So that is our project. Sorry, I didn't go by the slides. It's sort of like, I get excited when I talk about what we see the youth learning, what we see, skills that we're able to provide an opportunity for our youth and their mentors to use that property. And of course, we want to be able to provide food for the community as well, so that we're not dependent on outsiders. This particular workshop that you see, we've done several workshops that have, we've brought in some cultural practitioners to teach them how to make their papa kuya.
Over you. Yeah, that's stuff went everywhere.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh,
No,
go
no,
ahead. Go ahead.
keep going.
You're fine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so, these are some of the workshops that we've offered to not just the youth, but to their families, so that they're working together in making their papa kuyais and their papa pohakus, and also being able to meet some of the amazing practitioners that are here on the island and in Anahola. That lower picture was the students of Kanui Kapono School actually learning how to do soil testing. And we had CTAR come in and kind of teach them why the soil is important, why doing the soil testing. If we're going to be growing food, we want to make sure that the soil is good for that, or what kind of amendments do we need. So we've incorporated education in just the process of not just clearing the land, but being able to have the community themselves be a part of what needs to be done, what is being done, and it's for them, it's for the residents. And we also, we were required, if we're putting up any buildings, to do an environmental assessment. And so we just recently completed that. And I know if you have any questions on that, Kavika McCaig, who is our consultant from Group 70, is also on this Zoom call that can probably answer a lot of if you have any specific questions to that. But everything that was done through the EA there was no conflicts or areas of concern.
And I just wanted to mention, if I may, that when we do land use analysis for an amendment, it was actually really helpful to have them already have an environmental assessment, because they were looking at all the different kinds of potential impacts and had to mitigate them so that they wouldn't cause any impacts to the surrounding community. So that was really, really helpful in order to, recommend that we move forward with the land use amendment. So these are the next steps. I just want to mention after this beneficiary consultation, we'll take all of your comments. There'll also be a 30-day comment period. And we'll talk about that some more on the last slide. But so we'll be taking comments for 30 days. Everything will be posted on the webpage. And then that report will go to the Hawaiian Homes Commission for acceptance. And then once that's been accepted, then we can request approval of the land use amendment. And then once this is really their last step to getting a long-term license. So we're hoping that can happen, hopefully maybe even sooner than August. Okay, so that's the overview. If you can go maybe to the next one, Andrew.
Yep. Oh. So just this slide kind of gives an overview of the previous actions that the department and KKOA and the Hawaiian Homes Commission have taken on this project to date. And as Ray mentioned, the commission approved the final environmental assessment a couple months ago in October.
Yeah, so we did have a few more slides. I don't know if did we want Kavika to talk to those? That was actually in the other presentation. Back to the other one. Did you want to go back to that? Or do you want to just go ahead and?
Yeah, I think if there are any questions,
Okay.
we can take them at that time. I think we've done a lot of talking. So Nancy in the previous slide just went over next steps. So this is just the beginning of the consultation process. If for those of you who might have joined late, this meeting is being recorded. So we'll post the meeting recording to the website if you missed anything in the beginning part of the meeting. You can also email your comments to dhhl.planning@hawaii.gov. The meeting recording will be posted on the DHHL website. I know there was a question in the chat about when we will be posting it. Probably within the next week or so, the meeting will be posted to the website. It'll be the same website that you use to access the Zoom meeting tonight. Okay. And then I think the last, oops. So yeah, the last slide was just just to let you folks know now that we talked. Now it's our turn to listen and your turn to talk. I see a hand up from Commissioner Neves. Did you want to start us off?
Yes, and thank you, Andrew, and then thanks for the presentation. I'd just like to say that the reason this has come to this point is because in our last commission meeting, there's a proposal to move from one area to the other without this consultation. And I just want to make it clear, not against the project. I've never been, as a matter of fact, if you look at the first picture of the project, I'm standing there helping get things done in 2017. I worked the project for several years, and we still do work with KKOA. But I wanted to make sure that those that are either on this call and those that are not, the two maps that were sent out with the notice are somewhat a little confusing. There's one that shows Anahola Bay. It shows the one map that's sort of outlined in red, and then there's another map that shows project site. So I'm assuming that we're only talking about the project site. Is that correct?
Yes.
The 10-acre project site. Initially, when KKOA came up with their proposal, they were looking at 30 acres. So is this going to limit the size of that project now? Because if it doesn't limit the size of the project, it takes more residential area out. My
Right, no.
responsibility is to ensure that we put people in homes. I think the project's great, but our people need to voice their opinion. I'm only voicing my opinion and my concern about doing something that has infrastructure close enough to put extra homes in. So I just want to make sure it's a 10-acre site. This would limit the size of this project, which if that's the idea moving forward, then I think it's really up to the beneficiaries to decide whether they want to allow this to happen or have it moved. Now, I know there's been a lot of money, a lot of work. I understand, but the department erred in giving us the wrong information from the ROE. And then when we got to the 5-year license. So I'm a little concerned. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm a beneficiary. I'm a lessee. I have family that are on the wait list. There are many people on the wait list waiting for homes. So I just want to make sure, and I'm responsible. My fiduciary responsibility is for my beneficiaries, all of the beneficiaries. So that's my kuleana, and I'll hope someone else has something to say. Thank you.
Could I respond?
Sure, no, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, as I stated on an earlier slide, well, I think it was this slide actually. You know, the thing about it is that the way we handle our land use plans and our maps isn't as dynamic as we'd like it to be.
Sure.
So like I said, when they did the Pi'ilani Mai subdivision, Anahola residential lots development plan, the land use map should have been updated at that
Sure.
point, and it wasn't.
Right.
So what it did was it created a situation where we have community use designated in the middle of a homestead area. So what we're doing is we're only redesignating 10 acres. We're actually redistributing existing community use designation into
Yes,
two separate areas.
Nancy, I understand that. The priority is putting Hawaiians in homes.
Right.
Okay. Community use is like a second to getting someone in a home. So I understand the 20,000 foot level. This was the plan. We should have adjusted it. We didn't adjust it. Now we have infrastructure in an area that should be residential. Not my decision. I bring it to the beneficiaries to speak on this subject. They need to decide.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks for your two comments.
Thank you.
Let's go to Ku'ule. You have your hand up.
Aloha, yes. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm not too sure why my camera's not opening up, but that doesn't really matter. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you.
So, okay. So as a beneficiary myself and an applicant waiting on the list, I totally understand what Commissioner Neves is saying. However, if you look at this map that is being shown right now, the
Sorry, Ku'ule, you kind of cut off.
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay, sorry about that, everybody.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I'm not too sure what part got cut out. However, just to reinstate. Yes, Andrew.
I was just gonna say you cut out at the part
Okay.
where you're talking about the map.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So in regards to the location, and this is more for everyone that hasn't been following KKOA's journey. My understanding is that the 26 acres that's in that kind of purpley color is now being moved to where we were directed to establish Ulupono Anahola as the quote unquote community use. Now,
Sorry, Ku'ule, you cut out again.
so sorry, everybody. I'll just try to keep this short. But initially, when KKOA was directed to this property that we are now on and have been working on since 2019, the application that both Pi'ilani Maike Kai, the board of directors and the members, because we also had a meeting with the members of Pi'ilani Maike Kai, because that is what DHHL directed us to do, was to work with one of the already established residential group. And so we went to Pi'ilani Maike Kai. They already had an interest in a type of community garden. And so we had a agreement that, okay, we're gonna apply. So we applied for 30 acres to do not just what you see on the map, but also an orchard so that there would be food for the community. So that is the future. When we went for the 30 acres initially in 2019, the commissioners told us to start with 10 acres. And so we started with the 10 acres, but the 30 acres has always been like the vision.
Sorry, Ku'ule, you cut off at the vision, or 30 acres has been the vision.
So I would like to put that on the record, because I think a lot of people that are on this call and in this beneficiary consultation meeting may not know a little bit of the background of how we got to this place now. So we are really wanting to get everybody's feedback, because it's important to us as well to hear from you. But as a beneficiary myself, and have been on the waiting list for over 40 years, I totally understand Commissioner Nevis's concerns, because I would also like to have that residential place myself. The other thing is there is plenty land. This is just a portion that is.
Sorry, you cut out one more time.
Okay, so just to end my my input is that this has been managed now. It's been cleaned up now. Prior to that, it was quite a threat to the community. So I just want to leave everybody with that information as well. And thank you so much. And thank you for the meeting.
Mahalo, Ku'ule. So again, the question for the main topic of this consultation meeting tonight is the proposed land use amendment to amend the Kauai Island Plan to redesignate the 10-acre property to community use from residential use. Currently, the previous island plan had 26 acres of community use in this area, a lot of which has actually been developed for residential use already. So the proposal would help to provide more community use space for the purposes that KKOA went over tonight. So if there are any other questions on this or comments, now is the time. Lori Lani, please unmute yourself.
Aloha mai kako, I'm Laurie Lani ke oho kalole. My question has to do with opposing or supporting. If we write it in the chat because that does not show up in recordings, would that be sufficient
Um,
for this?
yeah, so
action?
after, that's a good question. So after this meeting, we will take down the meeting notes, and the meeting notes will include both the comments that are said verbally as well as in the chat. But if you want to do both, that's fine too.
Mahalo.
Other questions or comments on the proposed land use amendment? Commissioner Nevis?
Yeah, Andrew, I just want to thank you guys for having this opportunity for the beneficiaries to view and voice their opinion. And I thank all of those that are involved, including KKOA, and we hope we can move forward as soon as possible. Thank you.
Mahalo, Commissioner. Other comments or questions? I just want to make sure that folks understand what the proposal is. So it's to change the yellow to blue, essentially. So changing this area to community use. Jorina, please unmute yourself and
Hi, my name is Jorina, and I wanted to know, after this, when will they update the plans? When will they correct the community use area?
let me go to that slide. Good question. So while I'm going to that slide, what we intend to do is take the comments we hear tonight to the commission so that they have a record of the comments that were made. And then shortly thereafter, we will take this land use amendment proposal to the commission. So sorry, I can't get to the slide, but we're looking at either January or February to take the consultation report to the commission, and either February or March for the commission to consider amending the island plan to community use. Did I answer your question?
Kind of. When are they going to update the entire island plan use that is current, like KKOA area? And
oh, so you're asking when is the department going to amend the entire island plan? Is that your question?
yes, I mean, just to correct, not just, this area that we're talking about tonight, but the other parts of Anahola that needs
So
to.
I guess I don't have an answer for you because currently it is something that we would have to put in our budget and request approval of the budget to amend the entire island plan. I'd just like to let you know, we have to update our island plans from ODA. We'll start with the oldest one, which is our Hawaii Island Plan, and then move with our Hawaii Island Plan was adopted by the commission in 2002. So we have to start with that one first, and then we'll proceed to the subsequent island plans. But it's also, the timing is also a matter of getting sufficient budget to do the island plan update.
But I do think that it's possible we could update the map and do an addendum to the existing island plan. So we can, I guess we can discuss that.
Yeah, just for this amendment though, but not a comprehensive amendment that I think Jorina was asking about. Other that was a really good question. Other we've got nothing but good questions and comments so far. Other questions or comments on the proposed land use amendment?
Aloha, Andrew. I don't know how to raise my hand.
Oh, go ahead.
Is it okay? Aloha.
Yep, go ahead.
My name is Ipo Torio Kauhane. I'm a longtime resident of Anahola. I am the founder of Kanuikapono School, and I'm a big fan of KKOA. I love the vision and mission. I so appreciate Auntie Ray and Auntie Ku'ule and Auntie Malulele and my brother Kapule and Lori Lunny and all those that support such a needed program. My frustration right now is it feels like we're going backwards again. I was there and I remember when they were preparing all of this and bringing in the infrastructure, and that was, you know, over 10 years ago. So it took this long to get here. And I have to echo, as much as I love Auntie Ray and Ku'ule, I do have to echo what Commissioner Nevis has said. So I do have a concern with changing the designation. And I'm wondering how that is going to affect the rollout and the timeline. 40 years is long enough. And if changing the designation is going to keep another 25 families from getting into homes, and they're going to have to wait longer, then it doesn't belong there. This project does not belong there. There's so much land up Mauka, and it feels like the vision is so much bigger than what this 10-acre parcel is going to allow them. So I'm not sure what other options or alternatives is available for this project, because I want to support this project. It's just really hard to see this land use designation now when we're so close to rolling out another bunch of lots for families to get on. And deep love and respect to KKOA and all those that work so hard. And I apologize if my mana'o hurts or offends anybody, but I just feel compelled to advocate for the hundreds of families that are still waiting. And mahalo to all of you and for the opportunity to share this mana'o. Oyano, mahalo.
Mahalo Ipo, good mana'o. Other comments, questions on the land use amendment? Ku'u, you can unmute yourself. Sorry, Ku'ule, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, mahalo. Thank you so much for the discussion here. I'm really happy that we can talk about this. So in regards to this designated land, was this designated land that now has become a for KKOA a challenge because we've put not just us, but there's been a lot of equity put into this property. If this property needed to go somewhere else, would Hawaiian Homes compensate all of that, almost close to the $1 million that Ray had mentioned earlier, if we had to move? That's a question. Oh, and how many house lots is in this 10 acres?
So the first question is whether or not the department would compensate KKOA for the work that you put in. I don't know the answer to that. I would have to probably check the lease or license that you folks have. But your second question, how many house lots would go into the 10-acre? typically, our lots on the neighbor islands have been about 7,500 square feet. So we'd have to kind of do the calculation to see how many lots would fit on a 10-acre property. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. I just want to point out though that unfortunately the department put homes in the area that was designated for community use.
Right.
So this community use area was taken up by homes, and
Right.
what I guess what we're proposing is that because of that, it would make sense to look at another community space in this particular region.
Well, and I wanted to add that there definitely is infrastructure that can be continued Mackay. And there's definitely land that's developable on the other side of the 10 acres. And when KKOA first came to us to discuss this and requested 30 acres, we said, well, you know, all that land is designated for residential except for the community use acreage, which we didn't realize was, you know, in the wrong place. So it's really just a map adjustment. And that's why, you know, we weren't doing the GIS level of analysis, so that the digital mapping, and that's what Group 70 did. And that's when this mapping error became evident to us. So there is no net loss of residential homestead area, and this is not going to slow down development of additional residential lots. One of our biggest constraints is water supply. So we're going to need to make sure that we can handle providing enough water and handle the wastewater for additional residential homesteads.
There's a comment in the chat from sorry if I mispronounced your name, Melisha. KKOA is an awesome organization. Work done to clean is visible, and they have impacted the community tremendously. And then I'll go to Jorina. You have your hand up again.
Yes, that's why I was asking the question about, you know, redoing the map, because under the blue where it says community use, if you go out towards the edge, towards the special district, that whole area is Pi'ilani Maikikai. That's phase 3. And that's all coming in after phase 2 is supposed to be. I mean, they just gave those lots out. They did those lot giveaway in June of this year. So there's people going into phase 2, but that other blue portion, which is a dark green next to the red, that whole area is PMKK phase 3. And that road connects to Ehukai Road for phase 3. And when you're talking about water, that's more houses. That's supposed to be another 60 houses coming in.
Yes, and they do have the water for that.
Right. And so then since we have not done, well, as far as I was looking back on the website, Anahola doesn't have any more designation in this area besides PMKK. I don't see that this 10 acres, I don't know about 30 acres, but I don't see the 10 acres being poorly managed with this project. What I see that it's going to be manageable, and it is manageable for what is currently happening right now with the land. I mean, with all the riffraff that's happening, the homelessness and everything, this 10 acres is a plus, especially for lessees who are currently living in this area. I just really want this to be designated, the map to be updated to show us And then because we just redid the water tower on the agricultural side also. So a more updated map would help tremendously for everyone.
Mahalo, Jorina, for that comment. Good comment. Let's see. There is a couple comments in the chat from Kona. He estimates that 10,000 square foot lots equals quarter acre, approximate 3 to 4 lots per acre road plus roads. My guess is you could put 20 to 30 residential lots on the 10 acres. And then Kalani has a question. How many residential lots could be put on the land used by KAUC for the solar farm? Unfortunately, I do not know the answer to that question because off the top of my head, I don't know the acreage amount for the solar farm currently, but that's something we can get back to you on. I will probably put it in the meeting notes. Sorry, we can't answer it tonight. Or
Yeah,
did
but
you want to?
if you look at the land use designation map there, Mauka of the highway, there's a community commercial area that's kind of the hashed red and white candy cane stripe there. I believe some of the solar farm has gone in there. There's residential Mauka of that. And then there's also residential Mackay, those two big yellow blobs going down into Kamalo. And then the commercial is red, and that's along the highway. So we are trying to stick to those existing land use designations. Whenever beneficiaries come in and request land, we tell them, well, if you want to do that, it's going to have to go in the area designated for commercial. Or you can use the area that's designated for special district. And we also want people to be able to malama those areas. So if KKOA wanted to malama the area Mackay of the Ulupono project, they just couldn't do anything permanent or get a long-term lease or license to the area designated for residential. So that's how we try to guide, when community groups want to use Hawaiian homelands, we have to follow the land use map. But what Jorina was saying was having up-to-date land use maps is really important. And I'm totally supporting that.
Okay, I don't know if your hand was up again or you just didn't lower it before.
I didn't lower it. Sorry about
okay,
that.
no worries. Jorina, you just raised your hand again. Please go ahead.
Yes, so the idea is, for how long would this 10 acres be? I understand that they want 30, and I understand that the commission said go for 10. But I mean, how long is this for? I thought it was for 5 years. Did I see that somewhere? Did I misinterpret that? How long will this project be for?
So the initial disposition that the commission gave to KKOA for due diligence was about 5 years. I mean, sorry, not about, it was for 5 years. I think I will defer to KKOA on how long they were thinking of utilizing the property for, or how long they would be seeking a long-term license from the department.
So is this a lease, or are they asking for a license? What are they asking for? Because I know KIUC is, there is a time limit. It's not forever.
Mhm.
So that's my question is, how long is this project going to be on this 10 acres for?
So I guess if someone from KKOA can express how long they envisioned the project to be on this area?
I guess I'll speak to that. Thank you for the question. So honestly, we don't know the answer to how long, because it's really, we would like to have a longer license. So our understanding is a lease is when someone is requesting a lease that is willing to pay the market value of the property for the lease. That's my understanding. And a license is usually a nonprofit to get a same thing as a lease, but or similar to a lease, but it's called a license. And we were hoping for 25 years, but really it's not really in our hands. I would say, I mean, we don't know how long we're going to be here, but we would love for the next generation to also take a hold of the vision and the kuleana to, you know, to see the the importance of this project for their community. So I wish I had the answer, but I don't.
Okay. Thank you for that. And thank you for the question, Joanna. Okay. Anyone else that hasn't had an opportunity would like to either ask a question on the subject, if you don't really have mana'o on the subject yet, if a question would help lead you to your mana'o, you can ask a question, or if you already have mana'o on the subject, please feel free to share, especially for those that haven't had an opportunity to talk or participate in the chat. Facilitator's worst nightmare.
We know it's a lot of information to process, and we apologize for that, but we want you to have as complete information as possible.
Okay. Jorina, you raised your hand again. Go ahead.
Okay, so as a beneficiary and a lessee, how can we get DHHL to update our land use map?
For this specific project, it would be any update to the map would require commission approval. So if you do like the amendment that we showed tonight, then you can let us know, share that mana'o with us, and we can put that in the report. So I guess these are the next steps, the slide that I'm showing to you tonight. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. Ray, I see your hand up.
Just on behalf of KKOA, we really want to thank you guys for having this beneficiary consultation meeting. It is very important to us to hear from the applicants, the lessees. That's how this actually all got started. And so it's always good. We think it's always good to be able to know kind of the heartbeat of the community and where things are at and what they see as valuable and important to the community, because that is KKOA's heart, is to, we definitely don't want to be a hindrance to anything. And whatever ways that we can support the community, we want to be able to do that. We do have, just to confirm what Andrew had said as well, we do have a 5-year license, and we're hoping that that will definitely still remain honored. And if we have 5 years, KKOA is going to give it its very best shot to be a blessing to the community.
Mahalo, Ray.
Yeah.
I see comments in the chat, and I just want to clarify these comments. So Jarina, you stated in the chat, please update the Anahola land use map. So just to clarify your comment and make sure we accurately interpret your comment, you are wanting the department to proceed with the proposed land use amendment that we showed tonight. I just want to make sure I.
Yes, and update it and correct it. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then Pua said mahalo nui for the information. And then Lori Lani, the same question I had for Jarina, just wanted to make sure that we capture your mana'o correctly. You're requesting that the department update the map per the proposed amendment that we showed on that slide. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So we're coming up on 7:50. We were scheduled to go to 8 o'clock. I just want to make sure that everyone who took the time out of their busy lives, oh, I got another thing in the chat from Maile. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Maile, is it okay if I read your question? Her question is about how to pass my Hawaiian home to my son. I have 50% Hawaiian. I've been on the list since 1983. I can't afford to build. My son has 43.3125% Hawaiian. What do I need to do? So we'll probably have to refer you to our Homestead Services Division, but thank you for leaving your email. So yeah, your question is about successorship. So we will refer your question to the Homestead Services Division, who helps to process those types of questions. So thank you for that question. Okay. So I just want to thank everyone who took the time to participate tonight. Especially like to thank those that voiced mana'o on this topic. Thank you for it's not easy sometimes to share your ideas or your thoughts or your beliefs, but we appreciate that. Let's see. Anyone, just last call for questions and comments or comments. If none, again, the next step is to keep the comment period open for the next 30 days. So if you're like me and you're like, oh, I should have said that at the meeting, you do have an opportunity to still comment on the matter. If you know of anyone that wanted to attend this tonight but didn't have the opportunity to because of conflicting priorities, feel free to refer them to the website below. In about a week or less, we should have the meeting recording on the website, and they can watch the presentation and email us our comments at dhhl.planning@hawaii.gov. Okay. All right. So just like to mahalo everyone. Commissioner Neves, did you have any closing thoughts or
No, I don't. Thank you, Andrew. I know it's these are important things, I think, for our beneficiaries to voice their opinion. And if they haven't voiced it tonight, I'm sure they'll voice it hopefully in the comments as we move forward. Anyway,
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. I guess with that, then I'd just like to wish everyone a happy holiday season. Stay safe, and we will see you in the new year. Aloha, everyone.
Mahalo. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo for coming, everyone.
Mahalo, thank you.
Yes, mahalo.
Malama pono.
Thanks, everyone.
Ahuiho.
Aloha.
Aloha. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, I'm going to save the chat. Chat saved. Okay. All right. Thank you, Nancy.
No,
What a
thank
week.
you, Andrew. Yeah, it's not over yet. Then there's next week.
Oh, it's just a commission meeting.
Oh, my. Okay. Yeah, I guess we can debrief tomorrow or
Yeah.
something.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Okay.